Shiloh Sanders will walk alongside his brother Shedeur in Paris this year, but it's not just a runway moment, it's a cultural statement. For two American football players to headline a luxury brand's appearance at Paris Fashion Week is unheard of. But for AMIRI it was essential. The Sanders brothers don't merely represent fashion potential, they represent cultural authenticity and economic foresight.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This isn't tokenism dressed in designer threads. It's a shift. A declaration that the future of luxury branding isn't rooted in exclusivity, but in resonance. And Shedeur, with his proven track record of business-first deals, made sure this moment wasn't just symbolic, it was profitable. Every move Shedeur makes aligns with a bigger narrative, redefining athlete influence beyond endorsements. From jersey sales to barbecue sauce to gaming integrations, his portfolio isn't a collection of side hustles, it's a cultural infrastructure. The AMIRI deal is just the latest evidence that Shedeur Sanders isn't just capitalizing on his moment. He's building something far bigger than fame. The NFL has never seen anything like this. Shedeur Sanders just pulled off a move that stunned the entire league, and it had nothing to do with a playbook, a pass, or even a game. He signed an $80 million endorsement deal with luxury fashion house AMIRI, a groundbreaking partnership that does more than merge sports and style. It redefines what it means to be an athlete in 2026. And here's the kicker, it includes his brother, Shiloh Sanders, and both are confirmed to walk in Paris Fashion Week. This is no glorified photo op. It's a high-stakes brand alignment that tells the world Shedeur isn't just here to play football. He's here to shape industries. From the locker room to the runway, he's doing it on his terms, and that's what makes this deal such a cultural earthquake. AMIRI didn't just want an athlete. They wanted credibility. They wanted someone who doesn't just wear the culture but lives it. Someone who represents more than stats on a screen. Someone who commands respect in communities and boardrooms alike. And Shedeur? He was the obvious choice. His voice already carries weight in fashion circles. His influence already stretches beyond football. The AMIRI deal simply made it official. But the fashion pivot isn't even the full story. Because Shedeur Sanders has been rewriting the athlete blueprint for a while now. The AMIRI deal is just one piece of a much bigger empire that he's building. An empire founded on financial literacy, cultural loyalty, and long-term leverage. His choices aren't just smart, they're surgical. And they reflect a level of foresight most rookies aren't even allowed to have, let alone execute. Take Gatorade. The brand offered Shedeur a $60 million, 3-year deal. And he turned it down. Not because it wasn't enough. Because it wasn't strategic enough. Instead, he negotiated a deal that gave him 3% equity in Gatorade USA. Let's talk about what that really means. Gatorade brings in somewhere between $4 to $5 billion a year. That 3%? It could earn him tens of millions annually. For decades. That's not endorsement money. That's generational wealth. That's ownership. It's a radical departure from how most athletes approach their prime earning years. He's not trying to grab short-term cash. He's building scalable, intergenerational income that doesn't rely on performance bonuses or public perception. His personal brand isn't just strong, it's structured. The Nike deal follows the same pattern. Initially valued at $125 million, it came with a performance clause. And once Shedeur made his preseason debut, that clause kicked in, doubling the deal to $250 million. That's right, $250 million triggered not by superstardom but by one preseason appearance. That's what happens when your name carries market weight before the league even knows how to guard you. And Nike didn't stop there. Shedeur also negotiated a 50% royalty on all his jersey sales, something that's basically unheard of, especially for a rookie. To be clear, most NFL players don't see meaningful money from jersey sales. Licensing fees get chopped up between the league, the team, and the brands. But Shedeur? He negotiated an entirely different model. So when he sold over 375,000 rookie jerseys, more than top draft picks like Cam Ward and Travis Hunter, he wasn't just making headlines. He was making history. He turned fan loyalty into direct income, bypassing traditional licensing structures and proving that cultural capital can absolutely become commercial capital. If you control the terms. That's the core of Shedeur's approach. Control. Not hype. Not flash. But control over narrative, equity, and direction. Every move he makes reinforces a long-term plan. Nothing is random. He's not just signing with brands, he's aligning with platforms that support his broader identity. His commercial presence spans apparel design, barbecue sauce, gaming with EA Sports, and wellness through a collaboration with Tom Brady's TB12 brand. And none of it feels like a cash grab. It all reflects his personal story, his values, and his community. The barbecue sauce connects to his southern roots. The TB12 collab speaks to health, longevity, and performance. EA Sports taps into his Gen Z audience and expands his reach into gaming culture. These aren't separate projects. They're interconnected brand extensions that feed off one another and build a multidimensional business ecosystem. This is a systems thinking approach that you don't typically see from athletes, especially this early in their careers. Each vertical he enters strengthens the others. It's not about visibility. It's about resonance. He's not just the face of a brand. He is the brand. And there's a deeper layer to all of this. Shedeur's philosophy isn't just about stacking deals. It's about staying grounded in his values while building something that lasts. He consistently emphasizes the importance of vision, resources for future generations, and staying smiling. This isn't lip service. It's baked into every contract, every clause, every product. He treats influence as a responsibility, not a performance. And that's where he truly separates himself. He's not just disrupting the financial model. He's shifting the cultural one too. In a world where athletes are constantly asked to be more marketable, more palatable, more brand-friendly, Shedeur is showing that you don't need to water down your identity to build power. You amplify it. That's exactly why AMIRI came calling. They weren't just chasing visibility, they were looking for legitimacy. And they knew that to access that, they needed someone who brings lived cultural experience, not just high follower counts. Someone who could carry streetwear sensibility and high fashion into the same room without it feeling contrived. That's what Shedeur does effortlessly. When he steps onto the runway in Paris, it won't be a gimmick. It'll be a recalibration. A moment that says out loud that American football players can move through elite fashion spaces not as novelties, but as architects of taste. And he's doing it with his brother, Shiloh, reinforcing that this isn't just about individual glow, it's about shared growth. And if you're still seeing this as just another celebrity brand partnership, you're missing the bigger picture. This is business acumen, media strategy, and cultural fluency, all operating at once. It's a new kind of athlete ecosystem where every lane intersects, where apparel reinforces gaming, where wellness supports fashion, where barbecue sauce ties into lifestyle storytelling, and where all of it reflects the same core values: authenticity, resilience, and ownership. Shedeur is proving in real time that modern stardom is no longer defined by highlight reels. It's defined by equity stakes, narrative control, and platform leverage. He's not playing the game to be accepted. He's building a new one where athletes operate like founders, curators, and cultural diplomats all at once. He's not just a quarterback. He's a business model. If you've made it this far, you already know this isn't just about one headline. This is about a seismic shift in how athletes move. So hit that like button if you're watching the game change in front of your eyes. Share this with someone who still thinks jersey sales don't matter. Drop a comment and tell us which move stunned you the most. Was it the AMIRI runway, the Gatorade equity, or the Nike royalty clause? And make sure you're subscribed, because this story is just getting started. And now that the dust has settled, let's really talk about what just happened. Shedeur Sanders didn't just sign an $80 million endorsement deal. He signed the endorsement deal. The one that officially blows open the boundaries between sports and luxury fashion. The one that throws out every tired idea of what an NFL rookie can, or should, be doing off the field. And the one that will be dissected in marketing meetings, locker rooms, and boardrooms for years to come. This isn't just about the number. The $80 million figure is headline-worthy, sure, but it's what that number represents that really shakes the table. It's not just money, it's validation. A signal that athletes, especially black athletes, can lead every conversation from financial innovation to high fashion. That the same young man throwing passes on Sunday can shut down a runway in Paris the following week, and both are equally credible. It's a new reality, and Shedeur didn't stumble into it. He built it, one calculated move at a time. This deal with AMIRI didn't happen in a vacuum. It's the result of years of careful brand cultivation, sharp commercial positioning, and most of all, knowing exactly what he stands for. Because AMIRI wasn't just looking for someone with a following, they were looking for meaning. Someone who connects, who resonates, who reflects where culture is moving. That's what Shedeur brings. His story isn't a marketing campaign. It's a cultural framework. Born into legacy, shaped by the South, grounded in family and fiercely independent. He's not just a brand ambassador, he's a brand anchor. And the genius of the AMIRI deal is that it mirrors that philosophy. It's not performative. It's participatory. Shedeur and his brother Shiloh are literally stepping into the world of high fashion, walking the runway at Paris Fashion Week. Think about that. This isn't a brand photo shoot. This isn't a logo slapped on a hoodie. This is two NFL athletes setting foot on one of the most exclusive stages in global fashion, not as mascots but as main characters. That alone breaks every old rule. And then when you zoom out and realize this deal is just one domino in a much bigger setup, it all clicks. Because Shedeur hasn't just been signing deals. He's been engineering them. Let's go back to the Gatorade situation because that move was wild. Gatorade offered him a 3-year deal worth $60 million. That's generational money for most athletes. But Shedeur said no. Not because he wanted more cash. Because he wanted more control. Instead of taking the money, he negotiated a deal that gave him 3% equity in Gatorade USA. That might sound like a small number, until you remember that Gatorade pulls in $4 to $5 billion every year. That 3%? It could easily translate into 8-figure earnings annually. And not just for a few years. For decades. That's forever money. He turned down $60 million up front in favor of long-term ownership. That decision right there? That's the kind of financial literacy most players never get the chance to learn, let alone execute in real time. It's not a gamble. It's a statement. Shedeur doesn't want to be the face of someone else's brand. He wants to be part of it, embedded in it, paid when it grows, not just when he shows up for a shoot. And the same mindset shows up in his Nike deal. This one started at $125 million. Already huge. But built into the contract was a performance clause that doubled it to $250 million the moment he took the field during preseason. That wasn't luck. That was legal strategy. That was foresight. Nike believed in his market value, and Shedeur's camp made sure the numbers reflected that belief, before he ever played a regular season down. And then, because apparently none of this was enough, he negotiated a 50% royalty on all his jersey sales. That part? Completely unheard of. Most players get a tiny cut from league sales. Shedeur gets half. That's an entirely new model of athlete compensation. One that removes the middleman, puts the fan relationship front and center, and pays out in real time. And again, the numbers back it up. He sold over 375,000 rookie jerseys. That's more than most first-rounders. That's more than higher-ranked prospects. And he did it without the hype machine. He did it by owning his narrative and staying authentic. Fans didn't just want to support a player, they wanted to support him. That's influence. That's resonance. And that's why every deal he touches turns into a case study. Because this isn't a scattered money grab. It's a strategic portfolio. Apparel design. Barbecue sauce. Sports integration. TB12 wellness collab. Every single one of those deals ties back to who Shedeur is. The barbecue sauce? That's Southern identity. That's family. That's cultural pride. It's not just a product, it's a story. The EA Sports deal? That's connection to Gen Z gaming culture and digital relevance. It's making sure his presence is felt across screens, not just on Sundays. The TB12 partnership? That's about discipline, longevity, wellness. Aligning with a brand built by Tom Brady means stepping into a space where performance meets purpose. And that's exactly where Shedeur wants to be. Each vertical feeds the next. It's ecosystem thinking. And Shedeur is at the center, not as a passive figurehead, but as the architect. And through all of this, every negotiation, every campaign, every headline, he hasn't lost the thread. He still talks about vision. About building for the next generation. About leaving something that lasts. This isn't just about stacking checks. It's about building a blueprint. One that doesn't ask for permission. One that doesn't water itself down for wider appeal. One that says, if you want to access this culture, you do it the right way, through us. Because the old models? They're crumbling. Athletes used to wait until retirement to build empires. Now they're doing it during warm-ups. And Shedeur? He's not just part of the shift. He's leading it. And this is just the beginning. Because when he steps onto that runway at Paris Fashion Week, he's not just wearing AMIRI. He is the embodiment of what AMIRI is trying to become. Stylish, credible, rooted in culture, and bold enough to rewrite its own future. That runway moment will be streamed, screenshotted, debated, and remembered, not just as a fashion milestone but as a business one. The line between athlete and mogul doesn't exist anymore. Shedeur Sanders has erased it. Because let's be real, this isn't just about Shedeur Sanders anymore. What he's doing in plain sight is rewriting the standard for what athletes are allowed to be. The whole system, from how endorsements are structured to how cultural influence is measured, to how athletes show up in industries that used to exclude them, is being re-engineered in real time, and Shedeur is at the center of it. Not as a face, not as a pawn, but as the architect. And whether the NFL wants to admit it or not, it's scrambling to keep up. Because we've never seen anything like this from a rookie. Not just in terms of dollars, but in terms of discipline. Most guys come into the league trying to find their rhythm, maybe land a sneaker deal, maybe lock in a few local partnerships. But Shedeur entered the room with a media team, a financial strategy, a brand identity, and a vision that already had layers. He came in as a business, fully formed, fully focused, fully aware. That's why the AMIRI deal hit so hard. Not just because of the amount. Not even because of the Paris runway moment. But because of what it represents. An elite luxury brand, known for exclusivity, handing over its image to a 21-year-old quarterback who hasn't played a regular season snap. And not because of hype, not because of media pressure, but because he earned it. Because AMIRI understands what most brands are just now realizing. It's not about access. It's about authenticity. And Shedeur doesn't fake that. He lives it. He is it. The look, the lifestyle, the message, it's all cohesive. When he walks in AMIRI, it doesn't feel like product placement. It feels like alignment. Like something that was already there before the contract was signed. And that's why the partnership has weight. It's not transactional. It's transformational. For both sides. AMIRI gets a deeper cultural connection. Shedeur gets a launch pad into global fashion relevance. And the audience? They get representation. Real, lived, unapologetic representation in an industry that's been gatekept for too long. This is what cultural legitimacy looks like. You don't buy it. You build it. You earn it. You live it. And Shedeur has done all of that, while still in the early days of his pro career. Let's not forget that. He's done this without a Heisman. Without a Super Bowl. Without even being drafted in the top spots like Cam Ward or Travis Hunter. He's outperformed them in jersey sales and commercial presence without needing the traditional accolades. Why? Because what he's selling isn't performance, it's identity. And fans are buying in. 375,000 rookie jerseys. Half the revenue coming back to him because of a never-before-seen 50% royalty clause. He negotiated that at the beginning of his pro career. Not at the end. While everyone else was playing the prove-yourself-first game, Shedeur walked in and said, "I know my value. Let's make it official." And then he backed it up. The jersey numbers weren't inflated by hype. They were driven by connection. By brand strategy. By fans who didn't care about where he landed on draft night, they cared about who he is and what he represents. That kind of loyalty doesn't come from stat sheets. It comes from story. From presence. From trust. And that's where Shedeur is undeniable. Every deal he signs reinforces that presence. Look at the TB12 partnership. That's not about tapping into Tom Brady's legacy, it's about aligning with a model of sustained performance and personal wellness. It says, "I'm not here to burn bright and fade. I'm here for the long run. For health. For balance. For future." Same with the Gatorade deal. Turning down $60 million in liquid cash for a 3% equity stake? That's not a flex. That's financial mastery. That's betting on the compounding value of ownership instead of the quick hit of endorsement money. It's thinking decades ahead, not seasons ahead. And the EA Sports integration? That's about relevance with younger audiences. Digital culture. Gen Z visibility. It's about making sure that Shedeur isn't just a name you see on Sundays, but a name you see on screens, in games, on platforms where future generations are forming their loyalties. Every vertical he touches, food, wellness, gaming, fashion, it all feeds into a singular brand. It's not scattered. It's structured. And that's what most people still don't get. Shedeur isn't trying to be everywhere. He's being intentional about being in the right places. Where his identity makes sense. Where his values resonate. Where the culture he represents is respected, not commodified. Because let's be honest, there's been a long, ugly history of brands using athletes as props. For visibility. For engagement. For clout. But never for leadership. Never for actual board-level influence. Shedeur said no to all of that. He didn't just demand a seat at the table. He built his own table. And now he's inviting the right partners to sit with him. The old model was, wait until retirement to find your second act. The new model, thanks to Shedeur, build your second, third, and fourth acts while you're still in the first. No more waiting for permission. No more settling for what's offered. Because when you walk into the room with your own brand, your own equity, and your own community behind you, You don't have to ask for value. You are the value. That's what this moment represents. And the industry is watching. Athletes are watching. Brands are watching. Because this is the shift. We've moved from sponsorship to stakeholding. From product placement to ownership. From influencer marketing to cultural partnership. And Shedeur is the blueprint. So when he walks that runway at Paris Fashion Week, don't reduce it to a publicity stunt. It's not a cameo. It's a confirmation that an athlete can lead fashion, that a quarterback can drive narrative, that cultural authority and commercial acumen don't just coexist, they thrive together. And the best part? He's doing it without compromising. He's still showing up for his community, still talking about intergenerational wealth, still honoring his Southern roots, still prioritizing family, still smiling through it all. He's showing that you can stay grounded and go global, that you can be culturally loyal and commercially dominant, that you can protect your identity and multiply your influence. That's rare. That's needed. That's next. So if you're watching this and thinking it's a fluke, think again. This is structure. This is strategy. This is Shedeur. And it's just the beginning. Hit that like button if you see the game being changed. Share this with someone still stuck in the old model. Drop a comment. Was it the AMIRI deal, the Gatorade equity, or the jersey royalty clause that blew your mind the most? And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because Shedeur's not done. And neither are we.